Today, I'm going to show you everything you need to know to catch a fish on a chatterbait. Alright guys, so whether you're new to fishing chatterbaits or you've been fishing them for a long time, having the right setup and having the right bait is ideal to having a good day on the water. So let's talk about having the right setup first. Looking at the chatterbait, you'll notice that it just has one hook on the bait. So one of the most important things when fishing a chatterbait is picking the right rod. And you need a rod that is typically going to be a medium heavy or a heavy action. The reason is because that single hook, you want to make sure you get a good firm hook set when you do set the hook. Right here, we're rocking a 7'6" freestyle rod. This is actually a medium heavy, so it's going to have a slight bend in the tip. It's going to have a little bit of action, so that way the blade and that vibration gets a nice movement, but when we're ready to set the hook, it's nice and firm, nice and solid, and we can secure that hook set real easy. So now you have a general idea of what rod we need. Let's talk about the reel. The reel that we're going to be using is a 7-to-1 gear ratio. The reason behind that is you don't want a reel that's too fast or too slow. If the reel is moving too slow, your rotations are too slow in general, the bait is going to be plummeting in the water, not vibrating as much as it needs to, and at the end of the day you might get snagged and you're not going to get the action or the reactions that you want from those fish. And if your bait is moving too fast, it's going to be just chattering a little bit too much, maybe scare the fish, and at the end of the day it's going to just stay on top of the surface of the water and just be in a strike zone that the fish are generally not in when you're fishing a chatterbait. Now we've talked about the rod, we've talked about the reel, let's talk about the line. Now when picking the right line for chatterbait fishing, guys, there's two variations I would really go for, or three in general. One is going to be a braided line just because it has a non-stop connection to the bait, so it's going to have a lot of vibration, a lot of solid movement, and you're going to really feel that contact, especially when you're working in and out of those trees and stumps like that. My personal favorite line to use is either a mono or a copolymer line. The reason behind that is there's a little bit more stretch in the line. It allows my bait to kind of pull back a little bit more, vibrate a little bit more freely, and then when the fish react and strike to it, there's just enough tension in that line or enough slack in that line to secure that hook set but not bust on me. Typically, I will say do not use fluoro when you're fishing chatterbaits. There's just not enough stretch in the line, and when these fish do strike on a bait like a chatterbait, it's pretty aggressive, it's pretty tough, and you want to make sure you have enough to get that penetration, like I said, with that single hook through. So sometimes rocking a fluoro line, even though it's very sensitive, when you set that hook, it'll bust right off, unfortunately. All right guys, now when talking about chatterbaits, there is a large assortment of brands, colors, styles, just a lot that goes into picking the right chatterbait. So I'm going to talk a little bit about picking the right one. Now as you can see behind us, it is pretty overcast out here. It is pretty gloomy, and this is a great time of the year to throw a chatterbait. One, because it creates a lot of thumping and vibration in the water, so if there's not a lot of clarity from the sun, the fish can easily lock onto your bait. There's also a little bit of flashing from that blade in the front of this bait. Now picking the right color is just as important too. The water is fairly stained here. It's more of like a tinted tea brown color, so we're really going to be looking at some of our more vibrant white color baits for locations like this. Now one of the last things to think about when picking the right color of chatterbait, guys, is the bait fish presentation that you're trying to match in the water. If there's a lot of shad, you're going to go with that light, wider pattern. If there's a lot of bluegill, you're going to go with that darker pattern. Also, don't be afraid to throw crawfish patterns as well. You can throw a red chatterbait, and that's when the trailer comes in hand, picking the right trailer for those chatterbaits. You're going to want to put paddle tails on stuff that's matching those bait fish. You're going to want to put those craw presentations on the baits that's matching the craws when you're fishing those in the water. Now before we get out there in the water, guys, let's talk about POWERURUS' battery, who is actually going to be powering today's adventure.
POWERURUS specializes in providing high-quality, eco-friendly lithium batteries suitable for a variety of applications, including boating, fishing, outdoor activities, recreational vehicles like RVs, and even backup power for your solar panel and wind systems. And some of its features include a 5.0 app-functioning smart battery monitoring system, which allows you to easily monitor your battery on the go. Now, I love the lightweight and size of this battery. It's super easy to haul around and plug into my jumbo. And thanks to the large output and energy capacity, I'm able to stay out there on the water running my trolling motor and fish finder all day long. Make sure to check out the link below in my description to learn more and take advantage of my discount code.
Thanks POWERURUS for powering today's adventure. Alright guys, now one thing I didn't mention about the chatterbait is you may notice it is the shape of a jig, and that is to kind of fish it in that tree lines, those sticks, the trunk, stuff like that that's sticking out of the water. Areas where you're not really able to throw your crankbaits, your lipless baits and stuff with treble hooks because it'll get snagged. Once again, that single hook will help you easily work over those logs and whatnot without getting snagged and that will have that same action, the same thumping and vibration that a chatterbait, or excuse me, that a crankbait would typically have. So we're gonna give it a cast. As you can see, we got some tree lines all around us. So let's start fishing this area and see if we can find something. Let's give it a cast on out there. We're just gonna work this thing slowly from the edge out into the open. Just a nice steady retrieve. Nothing too fast, nothing too slow. It's almost like you're bringing back a paddle tail, something real simple, letting that vibration, that flash drive the fish in. And the great thing about chatterbaits is if you want to drop them, if you want to do some flipping, some vertical jigging, you can still do those movements really easy with a bait like this. So guys, you can see we got a tree out there in the middle of the water, some sticks over here. We're gonna try to make our way towards these areas and get the lure to fall really, really close to that area without possibly spooking any fish that might be hugged up on it. Man, I haven't fished this shallow in a minute. That's a fish. Just working it through the logs like I was saying. Woo. All right guys, there we go, our first fish of the day. Not a big one at all, but working it right here in between these tree lines. Found him, pulled him right out of there, just like that. Probably close to a pound, and probably only got about 5 foot of water, but first fish on the deck. I'll take that. I'm gonna do it this spot, guys. There's some logs sticking out of the ground. I wanna get past those logs and swim past them. What it does is, if there's anything hugged up on that structure, they'll come out of it naturally when they see it coming by, but that vibration will bounce off of those logs and actually echo a little bit in the water. And when I do that, I give it a couple casts in that general area. 1, to let them know there's something there, and 2, to secure that fish when they come out and find it. Oh man, I didn't set the hook good enough on that, but I just talked about it, guys. You find logs like that, you throw it in there once, kind of wake them up, throw it in there again, secure that hook set. I wouldn't even be surprised if there's another one in there. Let's try that out again. They know there's something swimming by because they hear that vibration. Let's see if we can find ourselves another fish in there. Fish. Oh, never mind. Wait, yep, yeah, that's a fish. It's a decent fish. Yeah, that's a really good fish. That's a really good fish. That's a really good fish. He didn't even know. Oh my God, he's behind us. He didn't even know he was hooked. I didn't even know he was hooked. Oh my God, this is a giant, bro. That's a solid fish. I did not think we were gonna come out here and catch a donkey, guys, but chatterbait just got ourselves a donkey. I was not expecting it, fishing the same way we've been fishing everywhere else. We're in 4.4 foot of water, casting along the edges, reeling it back out. I thought I was bumping a log or something, set the hook anyways, and look at this thing. Absolute unit, beautiful, beautiful fish. Let's get a quick weight on it, get her back in the water first, let her rest, and then get her back in the water and back home, because man, I'm ecstatic right now. I can't even think. £5, 5.25. Almost halfway to 6, guys. Almost halfway to 6. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for today. We got out here to try to show you a little bit more about fishing chatterbaits, the right combo and setup you need to get out here and make it happen. Now, all you gotta do is get out there and try it yourself. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe button, and let me know in the comments below if there's any other baits or combos that you wanna see so we can get out here on the water and make those videos and make it happen for you. But that's gonna be it. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.